Well, it is finally here. It is now time for me to share with you all my 2018 planner setup. So the way I've set up and organized my planner for the new year. So if you're interested in taking a peek inside my planner and getting some tips from me on how I suggest you choose your planner for the new year if you're someone who's still stuck, stay tuned because this video is for you. Hello, my charmed ones, and welcome back to my channel. And if this is your first time with me, I would just like to say welcome. My name is Alexis, but I'm also known as MissTrenchcoat all across the internet. I'm an online entrepreneur who designs and sells digital productivity tools to help you work smarter, not harder. So if that sounds interesting to you, I'll leave some links down below in the description box where you can check out more of my work online, and feel free to download some of my latest free productivity tools over at thecharmshop.com. So as I said in the intro, today I'm going to be sharing with you my 2018 planner setup. I'm trying to think back and I feel like I've done a number of these planner setups. I must have been doing these every year at about this time for at least the last several years. So I know that this has become a little bit of a tradition in the planner community. And as this video goes live, it is actually Christmas Eve. So if you are someone who is celebrating the Christmas holiday, I would like to say Merry Christmas to you and to yours this holiday season. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful new year if I don't speak to you in the meantime. And of course, if you're watching this video at a different time of year, like maybe you're watching this randomly in the middle of the summer or in the spring or in the fall, I hope that it still gives you some really good ideas for how to set up your planner. Now, the reason that I do these videos is not because I expect that everyone is going to want to use the same system as me, but I know that a lot of people like to get inspiration and see what else is out there and kind of get an idea of how other people are thinking about planning and using their planners. So that's the way I like to approach this, this type of video. And so just sit back, relax, enjoy the video. We'll get a peek inside my planner, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to give you guys some really great tips to help you maybe get clear or choose the sort of planner or system that you think is going to work for you in the new year. So let's jump right in. Okay, so here is the planner that I'm going to be using for 2018. Now, I realize that if you've been following me for a while, this looks a little bit different than the normal system that I've been using. Although it still is disc bound, which I've been in for a couple of years at this point, I am not using a planner cover or a notebook cover on this notebook. It is just the front and back leather covers of an ARC disc bound leather cover. So you can see here I picked this beautiful quilted cover, and actually I ended up buying two of these ARC disc bound leather covers, one in this beautiful quilting and one that was the flat leather, because I didn't want to have the quilting on both sides. So I just bought both and then put this one on the front and left the back as the flat normal black leather. But I decided that this year, I really didn't think that I absolutely needed a notebook cover. The cover itself is an idea that I think is so cute and I just love it, but it's an example of a situation where I was trying to make something work that I wasn't 100% using, right? Like I wasn't really utilizing the notebook cover the way that I think it really needs to be utilized. So I think that going back to just the plain old notebook style with everything I want in here, including some extra storage. I do have some extra storage options in here and you'll see that in a second, but I think that going back to basics with this more like book style where everything is inside and everything is organized without having to have any fancy covers or a separate notebook, I think that is going to be the best situation for me moving forward into 2018. So let's crack this bad boy open. So as you can see here, when I open this up, there are a few little pockets in here where I just have some like useful things. I've got like marble sticky notes, my favorite sticky notes that look like an iPhone. And then I just have this really pretty paper clip that I made with like this AB style stone in it. It's just something cute that I like to have in the front. So I do have some pockets and things for me to stick in here in the front, but for the most part, I don't think I'm necessarily going to be overloading this front section with things. It's just not the way that I tend to use my planner anyway. So when you first open up the planner, I have here a beautiful new 2018 year at a glance calendar. These are free in my shop. This, along with everything else, is going to be linked down below. Everything inside of this planner and everything I mentioned will be linked down below. So definitely check the description box. I don't want to have to say that like 1,000 times. Just assume if you see it, it'll be linked down below. So this is a freebie in my shop. It comes in personal, A5 half letter, and then also full letter. And you can feel free to download those for free. Now, here is the title page or the ownership plate of my planner. I don't have it filled out right now. I'll wait until after this is filmed to do that. Then I come to my first divided section that is called my calendar. Now, these labels here, these tabs that you're seeing, are printables from my shop that basically help me break this down. So these are all in my shop that you can print at home, cut them out, and use them for your own labels. And the planner inside of here is, of course, my A5 half letter Charmed Life Planner. It is a week on 2 pages spread, same one I've been using for the last couple of years with very few exceptions. This page marker here is very cute. Isn't it adorable? I got it in a set of planner things from Michael's, the Recollections. I just loved the black marble with the kind of like the weekly breakdown and like the list that says you got this, and then there's also the measure. It was originally punched for like a spiral planner, but I just cut that off and punched it for my disc bound. So let's continue on, and you'll see here is the month on 2 pages spread. That is typical in my Charmed Life Planner. I've already started mapping out just a few things. One little difference you're going to see right now that has been different from some previous years is I think I want to use stickers a little bit more as icons to help me remember things. So you can see here I've got some like money symbols. Those are on days where I know I have like a credit card or a bill due. And I've got these little airplane stickers here to just denote some flights that I have, because later on in January, I will be going to host a business workshop in California, in the LA area. So I'm just marking that off now. Like I said, I just started like roughly putting some things in here. I have not yet fully jumped in to like map out my plans in depth. Another thing about my Charmed Life Planner, if you've never seen this before, is the Master Monthly Task List. This is where I will put all of my tasks that are related to the month. Here it's January, so all of my January related tasks will go here. It has an expense sheet. And then, of course, it goes back into the week on 2 pages that has space for your top 3, a list where you can actually just write more tasks or make notes or build a schedule, and then like an open block at the bottom that you could use really for anything, additional information to organize, or, you know, your plans in the evening, whatever you want. Like you could have your top 3, you know, the schedule for the day, and then what your evening plans are. And you can see I've already started mapping out, again, like I put some stickers in here for credit cards that are due, just things that I like to have in my planner ahead of time. And I get this question a lot. I keep 6 months at a time in my planner. Now, I could keep a full year of inserts inside of my planner if I wanted to, especially since I'm using the larger discs, but then it wouldn't give me as much room for my other sections, which are kind of more of a priority to me than planning for the full year. I tend to be someone who plans more like month to month, or at the most really a quarter. So it's not really a big deal for me only to have half of a year. I actually kind of like that, because then at the half year mark, it gives me an excuse to, you know, reset up my planner and reevaluate all of my systems and things that are going on with my planning to make sure I'm being effective. So I just keep half of a year at a time in here, but obviously depending on the planner system you're using or the additional sections that you're using, you may be able to fit more or less depending on what you're using. So that is basically it for my planner portion in terms of my Charmed Life Planner. Then the next section I have in here is my project planning section, and I do have another divider here for that. These are just disc-bound dividers from Staples. Now, the first thing that you see here, which is not yet filled out, is my year at a glance project tracker. I will break down all of my projects that I have thought of for the year ahead onto this tracker once I've created project planning sheets for them. So this is just a way for me to get a glance of like what I need to be working on, sort of timetables, and like when I'm going to be free, or if I want to like change projects or like reschedule things. Like it gives me almost like a really quick yearly overview of what my project work is, which is usually related to my business. And then of course I have a bunch of project planning sheets in here. Of course, right now these are blank. Once I have all of my projects worked out for the year, they will be outlined on project planning sheets and they will be put onto the yearly tracker so I can keep track of them. Now, the Charmed Life Planner and this yearly tracker and my project planning sheets all come in a bundle in my shop, which is called the Functional Planning Bundle. So if you want to get essentially the bulk of what I'm using to plan, that's what you're going to choose if you are checking out in my shop. If you just want the planner portion, the month on 2 pages, week on 2 pages, and then the monthly task and expense sheets, those are just the Charmed Life Planner. So after my project planning section, I do have a few more year at a glance sort of sheets that are also freebies in my shop. This is my yearly tracker page that basically has the full year broken out on it. This is going to be turned into my astrological tracker. I like to keep track of certain like astrological things, certain phases of the moon, and when the moon goes into certain planets and things like that. I like to track all that stuff out. So that is what I will put on here once I go and do my full year planning session. The next freebie I have for you is what I call my yearly overview. This is a full year. We've got January to June on one side, and then we've got July to December on the other side. And it is just a place where, again, it's got the dates and the day of the week, and the weekends are always highlighted on my inserts like these. And this is a place where I'm going to use as my marketing calendar. So when I have marketing promotions and things like that, I like to map them out here. My content and things like that will also be mapped out here, like blog posts, YouTube posts. This is just a way for me to keep track of marketing related things that I need to do for my business. But you could use this for so many different ways. I actually have a woman in my community who uses this to track her workouts. She like writes what her workouts are each day. And that's a really cool thing to do as well. You could also use this to track medical things or health related things like your weight. If you're someone who suffers from like migraines and you like to track that, this is something else you can use, but it also gives you like sort of more space. So you could actually use this for birthdays and anniversaries as well. I think this is a great little tracker. Again, completely free in my shop as a download, and it comes in this full letter, or which is also works for half letter planners or A5 planners, and it also comes in a personal size. Both of these do. Next section of my planner is my blog post tracker. So I keep my blog post ideas laid out here, and then I've got check boxes for the process of writing a blog post, editing it, images, and scheduling it. And that's where I will put all of my blog post ideas. I have a similar tracker here for my YouTube videos, and it's its own tracker where I can track my YouTube video ideas, if I filmed it, edited it, done the cover image, and had it uploaded and scheduled. So this is another tracker I use for YouTube. And then I have a task tracker in here, which is just a generic task tracker that I use for things that are almost like someday maybe items, or if I need to make just like a to-do list that is going to be like themed for something, I will list it out all on one task tracker, and then I can write down or check off the day of the week that I completed something, or if it's something that's a reoccurring task, I can check off if I've done it every day. So I keep a couple of these as well in the back. I don't always use a lot of these, but from time to time, these task trackers come in handy, so I like to keep a few in here. And then we get to the next divider here, which is my notes section. Now, at the beginning of this section, I actually have my Charm GTD Quick Start Guide. If you guys have been following me for a while, you may be familiar with this. This is a freebie that comes with any of my Charmed Life planners or functional planning bundles. It is literally just a really quick, almost like ebook that I actually just print out in A5 size to help you identify your priorities, establish routines, build positive habits, and track your actions. There's this little action tracker in here. And functional planning it helps you with. And then, executing and taking action. So it's just kind of like a little mini functional planning workbook that I, give as a freebie to people who purchase my planners or the bundles. So if you're someone who is interested in this, you may want to check out a planner. Like I said, it comes with all of them. Next, I've got my online business brain dump incompletions trigger list. This is another freebie in my shop that you just can, just check out with if you want it. This is a brain dump list that helps me to remember things that I might be holding on to in my mind when I do my like monthly business brain dump. So if you're interested in that, you can check it out at my shop. And then the last part of this section is just note pages. And I just have some just generic like disc-bound note paper because I have tons of this stuff and I wanted to use it up. I'm just going to use this as my notebook section for now because I realized that having a separate notebook was becoming a little bit annoying for me because first of all, I always use I love to use the disc-bound notebook paper anyway, because I can put it in my planner, take notes, and then move it into like another disc-bound notebook. But I just feel like this is so useful because even though it's not a bound notebook, like a spiral bound notebook, I can transfer the information into another disc bound notebook, which is what I tend to do anyway. So I thought, you know what, just put a nice decent sized, note section in the back of your planner, and then you can forego having to have a spiral bound planner. And I can always refill this section with more notebook paper, which is wonderful. Also keeping a little magnetic bookmark. This came from a Michael's Recollections planner kit. The same one, I think, actually, that this came from. So that is the last section of my planner. And then I just have one last divider that separates into these last few things here that I have for organization. I went ahead and purchased a disc-bound zipper pouch. I think I'd been using some in the past that were like attached to notebooks, and maybe one that was punched for like a Filofax that I repunched for disc bound, but I just bought the disc bound pack. It came with like 2 in a pack, so I thought that was really awesome. And back here, I just have a few like additional planning things, page flags, pre-punched little marble notes that I just use, inside of my planner every once in a while. And then some stickers, because like I said earlier, when we were talking about my monthly planner pages, I feel like I want to use just a little bit of stickers. And this is like a Michael's Recollections sticker set. So is this one. I just saw these at Michael's and thought they were cute. Liked the color scheme, the black and white and the marble. Uh-oh, and now I've gone and messed this up. So I just liked the color scheme, and it was just kind of pretty useful little stickers, Like I thought it was like everyday icons and just list things that I thought I'd use. So just pop that in the back there as well. And then I have, this is actually from a Martha Stewart disc-bound notebook. I just have a clear sort of like page file, like paper file. Inside of this, I have this little mini moon calendar that I got from my Goddess Provisions monthly box. I get like a monthly subscription box from this company. If you're into woo-woo stuff and like crystals and oils and stuff, you might want to check it out. But my last box came with this 2018 moon phase calendar that I thought was very handy, and I was going to use to fill out my astrological tracker. And I might just keep this in here too. It's kind of cute. I was also thinking about taking it apart and just punching it in. Might do that. For now, keeping it bound together back here. And I've got like this little folder so I can add loose paper or whatever, mail, things like that. So that's my negotiation for not using a planner cover, or agenda cover. I feel like I have enough storage now. I don't really have to worry about it, and I can just have like a normal notebook style. I guess the last thing here, but certainly not least, is a pen. I use tons of pens throughout the year. This is just the one that I have in there right now. This is like a little Cynthia Rowley silver clicky pen. I got these at Staples in the clearance bins, I think. I just like that it kind of matches the rings. But this may not be the pen that I'll use all year round. It's just in there now to set up my planner. Looks cute. Love it. Came in a pack of 3. I swear they were like $2. They were super cute. They also come in like rose gold and maybe gold as well. So that is everything inside my 2018 planner. So that was it. That was my 2018 planner setup. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Like I said, some things in there that wouldn't surprise you, but I think just a few little changes that I think may have surprised some of you. And of course, my philosophy when it comes to planning is that you want to choose what you're going to use, right? So if you don't feel like you're going to use something, don't put it in your planner. If you're interested in trying something out, go ahead and give it a shot, right? This is your life. This is your time management. And I think it's really important to make sure that you're doing what you think is right for you, even if that means that you need to make changes year to year. Because for certain, life does not remain the same. Your life and your priorities are not the exact same year to year. So if you need to switch things up in your planner system, I don't think that that is weird at all. I think that our tastes change from year to year and month to month sometimes. And I think that our priorities can change in an instant. Sometimes we can expect them to change and sometimes we don't expect them to change. But I think that it's really important that as things change, you make the necessary changes that you think will work for you. So you saw what's inside of my planner, but for many of you, my system may not work. For others, it might. So think about the things that were inside that system and how I'm using my planner to see if that is something that is inspiring to you or gives you some ideas for how you should be using your planner system. Okay, so now let's talk about my best tips for helping you set up your planner or for choosing your planner system for the new year. To make it really easy for you all, I've broken my ideas down into 5 major tips. So tip number 1 is to use one planner or to try to make sure that you can keep your calendar, your schedule, and your major tasks all inside one planner system. I've made a video about this before, but I really believe that you should not have your plans in terms of your schedule and your calendar and your major task list. I don't think they should be in separate planners. Now, I understand that the idea of using multiple planners is something that's very prevalent in the planner community. And I think that where people get confused is that I think that people use planners in different ways, right? So some people might use a planner as a scrapbook or as a journal, and those are wonderful ways to use a planner. But in terms of your calendar, your schedule of events, your to-do list, and your major tasks, you need to keep those in one place because the way I view it is that you have one life, right? You only have one life, one set of 24 hours per day, right? To make up, 7 days a week, right? And so I think that it's very important that we keep all that information straight in one place because I see what ends up happening is that you leave a little bit of information over here and you leave a bit of information over here, and then all of a sudden you've got these paper systems that aren't talking to themselves the way that if I made a note and put it in my phone, it would automatically sync to my computer. Planners unfortunately do not work that way. So what I think ends up happening is that people spread information out in different places and then they forget tasks or they overwhelm their schedule, right? Because they think, oh, I'll make a to-do list here for what I need to do for work. In my work planner, and then I have my personal planner where I'll put my personal to-dos. And then I've got my side hustle or business planner where I will put my side hustle tasks. And I think what ends up happening is that we write all of these tasks out and we see, at one time we're thinking, I can totally manage this in a day. I can totally manage this in a day. I can totally manage this in a day. But if you actually took all those tasks and put them on one list, it would be overwhelming to you. So now if this is something where you are already someone using multiple planners and you're using them flawlessly, then you do not need my opinion on this because it's working for you, right? This is only for people who are using multiple planners and it's not getting them anywhere. They're still overwhelmed and they really just can't see, a full view, right? They can't get that high level view of their calendar, their tasks, because their plans are separated into different planners. So if that applies to you, definitely try one planner, and definitely you can still use, one planner to be like your business headquarters, sort of where you put all your business information and things like that. And you can still use a planner to be a journal or, to organize your home or to help you meal plan, whatever you want in there. But make sure that your schedule, your calendar, your tasks are all in one planner so you have that high level view. Tip number 2 is don't feel like you need to keep everything in your planner. I will definitely say that over the years of me being, a planner addict here on YouTube, I have gone from trying to keep everything and the kitchen sink in one binder, in one planner system, to really truly streamlining what it is that I keep in my planner. I think what ends up happening when people watch a lot of these planner setup videos is that you see the way a lot of different people are planning and you feel like the ideas that they have are great ideas that would help your life. And it's true, maybe those ideas would help your life, but I think what ends up happening is unless we are able to kind of control ourselves and really make sure that we are limiting what we're putting into our planners, I think what ends up happening is we overwhelm ourselves with too many new ideas, right? It's one thing if you watch my video and you get like one little thing that you want to add to your planner, right? But think about all of the planner setup videos that are out there. If you take one thing from everybody, you're going to have a planner system that is all over the place and definitely not streamlined or easy to use. So this is, like I said, has been something that has happened to me before in the past. I wanted to keep lists for everything in my planner. I wanted to have a section for finance. I wanted to have a section for meal planning. I wanted to have a section for this, that, and the other thing. But what ends up happening is it really ends up limiting your ability to stay focused with your planner. And if you are someone, again, who really is just struggling to even use their planner consistently or to execute on their tasks, efficiently and effectively, because they've got this planner that's supposed to be organizing them, if this is something that you're struggling with, then I think that it's going to be important for you to not overwhelm your planner with all of these different ideas. As we've just talked about, it's great to have different planners that have sort of different dedicated uses, but in terms of that one major planner, your functional planner, the place that's going to house your calendar, your schedule, and those major tasks that you need to get done, that one needs to be as streamlined as possible and really only contain the things that you actually need to use to execute on your day-to-day tasks. So feel free to make a dedicated binder for your home, make a dedicated binder, like I said before, with business stuff in it, maybe a holiday planning sort of binder that you could bring out, during the holiday season to help you with like meal planning and recipe building and things like that. That's wonderful, but that's not something you're necessarily going to need in your planner day in and day out. So keep your planner as simple as possible, that main functional planner. I think that is an absolute must. Tip number 3 is don't be afraid to integrate digital into your planning. Now, this is a question I get all the time, and it always baffles me whenever people ask me this question about like how I use my phone or my computer and integrate that into my planning, or do I use my phone to plan? Do I use my computer to plan? And this is 2017. We are moving into 2018. Oh yeah, I use my phone. I definitely use my phone and my computer. And this is the way that I use it. I always schedule events, places I need to be, appointments, right? Things like that, those always go into my phone. And then during my weekly review session, when I'm reviewing, my plans for the week, I will pull anything that's in my phone and I will put it in my planner. But for me, my phone is the place that holds my schedule in terms of appointments I need to be at, because unfortunately, my planner does not ding. It does not make an alert. It does not tell me when I am getting close to missing something that's coming up, right? It doesn't remind me of what I have to do. So I definitely rely on my phone very often for even tasks, not just my schedule to like remind me that I need to leave for a doctor's appointment. I also use it for tasks that I absolutely do not want to forget. For example, any sort of bills that I actually have to pay. For me, I'm definitely someone who likes to put as many bills as possible on auto pay, but there's always some bills that you can't. You actually have to go in there and like select it yourself. So I always have reminders for things like that in my phone. So I definitely am someone who thinks that integrating digital into your paper planning is in the 21st century here, like super important, I would say. I mean, unless you're someone who's really able to stay on top of your planner, I definitely think that relying on your phone is not cheating. It's not cheating on your planner. I think that it's very necessary in this day and age to stay on top of certain things, to use digital, because we have the ability to do so. Okay, so tip number 4, it's actually less of a tip and more of a strategy or a way to think about a common question I get asked. People ask me all the time, Alexis, how do I choose the size planner I should use. Should I use personal? Should I use A5? Should I use, like a full letter sort of planner? How do I choose what size planner I need? Now, for me, I think this comes down to 3 factors. Number 1, how and where you plan. Number 2, your handwriting size. And number 3, your lifestyle. Now, in terms of that first element, how and where you plan, if you are someone who is based in an office, based at home, spends a lot of time at home, you're not always out and about traveling around with your planner, and you're someone who sits down, does their planning session, and then does their work, and your planner is just sitting there on the desk next to you, I think that that is a situation where you can choose a larger planner if you need it. Now, I'm not someone who's going to tell you to use a gigantic planner if a personal size planner is going to be enough for you. But I think that a lot of people end up struggling with the idea of what size planner to use, because I think for people who do work on the go a lot and do plan on the go a lot, right? I think that they feel like they are trying to find that perfect hack that's going to give them the ability to plan perfectly on the go in the smallest planner possible. And the truth of the matter is that there really is only one planner I can think of that is that portable, that is going to be able to be flexible enough for you to hold all of your plans so that you can do that on the go. And it looks something like this, right? So if you are someone who is not fully digital, and you are someone who wants to use a paper planner, right? That you love the idea of, writing things down, and you want to keep that paper planner with you, I think we need to kind of get over the fact that if you're someone who does need to take it out and about with you, if you know that you need an A5 planner, or you need a full size planner, I think that that is your answer, right? If you know that you can't fit it all into a personal, then you have your answer. You need to use a bigger planner. And I really think it's a little bit silly that some people think, oh, well, a full size planner isn't portable. I mean, yeah, it is. I mean, look at my planner here, right? I mean, I know it's not as tiny as like a little pocketbook planner, but geez Louise, this is far from being, a cumbersome thing to carry around. Now, again, if you're someone who does, take public transportation, and you already have to carry a lot of things with you and you're all over the place, okay, then maybe this sort of planner is a little bit too much for you. But I think for most people who are more mobile in their work and in their day-to-day lives, I do not think that this is crazy to take around. I don't think that a full-size letter planner is crazy to take around. I very often take a gigantic letter-size notebook with me to the grocery store with my grocery list in it. So I don't think that it is impossible to carry one of those around. Yes, it may mean that you need to carry a bigger bag, or you're going to be holding onto your planner like in your hands. But I think if you know that you can't fit it all into a smaller planner, you already have your answer. I think you're just trying to, hack the system or like hold out for some sort of miracle, which there really isn't going to be a miracle. You're never going to be able to fit, the information in a personal size planner that you would in a letter size planner. It's just not going to give you the same amount of space. I don't care what sort of wonderful, really useful, multiple pages for one day that you'll use in a personal size planner. It's really never going to give you the space that you're going to get in a larger planner, especially if you're someone who has big handwriting, which I don't think I have big handwriting, but I know a lot of people who do have larger handwriting, and it's like them trying to even use any personal size pages at all just becomes pretty useless for them. So if that is a situation where your lifestyle, your work, your handwriting dictate you need a bigger planner, just use the bigger planner. Trust me, it's better to have the bigger thing that you're carrying around that you're actually using than that smaller thing that you're still carrying around that is not helping you to the greatest extent that it can be. So really just kind of bite the bullet on this one. Choose the bigger planner if you're someone who already knows that the smaller planner isn't going to work for you. And if you are someone who is just getting started and you don't know where to begin, I personally say start with the middle. Start with like an A5 or half letter planner. I think that, sticking in the middle, and if you feel like you have tons of extra room and you could downsize, then you can do it. If you feel like you need to go bigger, you can still do it too. So I think, if you're first starting out, try the middle, see if that works, and then you can move from there. Okay, and my fifth and final tip for helping you put together your planner for the new year is that if you have no clue what planner inserts to use, what you want to have inside of your planner, the different sections, what you need to manage your life. I think stick to the basics. And for me, the basics would be some sort of half letter or A5 sort of size planner with a month on 2 pages, week on 2 pages, and some task lists inside. I think that is probably the most streamlined, basic planner. And if you can get some note pages in there as well, that would be wonderful. I think that would be everything you need to get started. If you have absolutely no frame of reference, if you're just getting started now, I think that really is the best course of action, because I think there's a reason that month on 2 pages and week on 2 pages is such a popular planner style, because it really is something that I think most people would be able to plan in, okay? And, for me, my philosophy when it comes to planning is that I don't use my planner to outline all of my thoughts and to outline all of the plans that I'm going to have. My planner is the place where I assign plans that I've already decided on. So I'm not someone who really needs to write down like everything in their planner to come to what my final idea is. I do that in a notebook when I'm, doing my brain dump or doing like a brainstorm session. Once I have my ideas outlined and thought through, then they get assigned in my planner, right? Because this is the place where I put my final plans. It's not where I put my rough draft. It's not where I outline ideas. I mean, I may do that to a small extent inside of a planner in my notebook section, or if I have like some sticky notes just to write down ideas so that I've got them front and center so I can work through them later. But when it comes to me actually making my plans, creating the plans from scratch, that is something that I do on scratch paper in another notebook, because it could take me pages and pages to outline a project, right? And then once I have that project outline, I transfer it to a beautiful, fresh project planning page, right? And then schedule it in my planner as it needs to be broken out, right? So if you take that same sort of philosophy, I think that any planner of a decent size, right? Like a half letter sort of planner, anything like that, with a month on 2 pages, a week on 2 pages, and like maybe some task lists and some notebook pages or whatever in there, I think that is going to suffice. And of course, if you're someone who feels like you have no clue where to even begin planning, right, I would highly recommend checking out my free functional planning e-course, where I actually show you how I plan functionally inside of my planner. And that's delivered to you online through your email, and I'll leave a link down below where you can check that out if you have no clue where to begin on planning and no clue where to begin on setting up your planner. I think that will help give you some insight for sure. So I hope those 5 tips help you get some ideas and strategies in place for you to set up your planner for your maximum productivity in the new year. Now, there's one final thing I wanted to talk to you guys about before we end this video, and that's my Productivity and Planning Mastermind group is now open for enrollment. So if you are someone who would like to work with me on the topics of functional planning, on priorities and goal setting and project planning, because you're someone who needs accountability, would like some additional help and eyes on the plans that you're making moving forward for your year, for a very productive 2018, then I welcome you to click the link down below and consider signing up for the mastermind. It is a 90-day accountability group that starts January 1st, but I am going to be doing sessions throughout the year as well. So if you join outside of the first session, there will be another session that's going to come along later this year. And of course, this is like a 90-day program that is meant to sort of revolve, and you get lifetime access. So you can access all the information at any time, and then we do a few live sessions a few times a year. But you always have access to the course, the Facebook group, the information. So if you would like to join us, I definitely would suggest checking it out while I still have the enrollment special pricing going on for that group. So definitely check it out if you'd like to work with me. get into my inner circle of productivity with my masterminders, I would love to have you join us. So I hope this video has been helpful to you. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. And of course, leave me any questions down below and I would be more than happy to help answer any questions for you. Definitely check out the description box because everything I talk about today is going to be linked down below there. And if there's something I missed, feel free to let me know and I will fill in the blank on that resource for you as soon as possible. If you're not yet following me on Instagram, definitely check me out there because for 2018, I have some really cool ideas for, just ways for me to share more tips and behind the scenes on my life and my business with you and my productivity, of course. So if you're not already following me on Instagram, definitely go ahead and give me a follow over there. My handle is @MissTrenchcoat. And if you're not yet subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button for more awesome videos by me. And until next time, bye-bye.